Oh, hello, world. Welcome to Comic Book News. I'm your old pal, Dan Shaheen. Hey, man, today we got the literary backdrop up. Yeah, I'm in the library looking at my extensive collection of cartoonist auteur books from the finest publishers across the world. You know, here at Comic Book News, a lot of you don't know this, but this channel makes me independently wealthy. Yeah, my recent successful live streams have brought in just a torrent of cash. I don't know what to do with that money, so I've been channeling it all into comics. So, hey, but you know what? That's even though I'm making so much Skrilla off the comics game, that's not enough for me. Yeah, I'm greedy, so I need you to send me free comic books. Yeah, that's right. I need you to send your books to Comic Book News with Dan Shaheen, P.O. Box 1163, Arcata, California, 95518. What am I going to do with your comics? Why would you send me free comics? Well, I will take them and I'll put them on the $1 Million Comics Cam. Yeah, that's right. We'll show them. We'll get my hands on them. I'll page through them. I'll sniff them. I'll describe the flavor. I'm going to tell you everything about those comics. I'm going to get into them in a deep way that no Amazon review or online little snippet or Kickstarter blah, blah, blah is ever going to do. Right? Bring them to Comic Book News with Dan Sheen. I'll hype your books. I get free comics. World goes round. All right, today we're going to bring in, hey, he's a returning guest to the show. I'll tell you the truth, I hadn't read too many comics by Noah Van Sciver before this year. I mean, I'd seen a few out there. I even sold a few at my store when I had one. But I had not really gotten into it. And man, this year I dove into Fonte Bukowski, and I never looked back. I love it. It's one of the best books I read all year. I would put it in my list at the end of the year for top OGN of the year, but it's not an OGN, so it's not going to qualify. But I'm going to have a special collection prize that I'm pretty sure it's going to make the nomination. No promises about who wins, though. So, Fonte Bukowski, you got to love. But if you haven't seen it yet, now is the time to go out and pick up his book. Don't Step on My JNCO Jeans. Man, if you're a child of the 90s, like I am, then you remember those stupid jeans. And Noah remembers, he's a little bit younger than me, so he even wore the stupid thing. So we'll talk to him about that. We'll talk about the 90s and nostalgia and why it's good and why it's bad and whatever. But you know what? He made a challenge to me. He's like, Dan, we can talk about your book. And what, you going to interview me and talk about my life? Who cares? Well, everybody cares. But like, let's talk about comics. I'm like, what a concept. So he's brought some comics to the table. He's going to show me. I don't know what they are. I got some stuff I'm going to show him on the $1 Million Comics Cam. He doesn't know what they are. So let's stop jawboning about it and let's bring him on in. Let's bring in our special guest today, Mr. Noah Van Sciver.
Hello.
Welcome, Noah.
Hey.
Hey, pal.
What's going on?
Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm wondering if you could take a book off the shelf behind you. Show me.
Oh yeah, let me. Which one? This one? Sure. Yeah. Which one of my extensive collections of?
I think I see the Roses Volume 2.
Well, no, you must be mistaking it for Ivan Brunetti's Misery Loves Comedy. We looked at this last time with Eric Reynolds. If you saw our Eric Reynolds interview.
Yeah, it's a great one.
We also looked at what else I got here on the show. This is not Fantagraphics. But it's drawn in quarter. In fact, maybe I could even win it. Let me see.
There you go.
Pull it. Yeah. Oh, that's so real. Oh, that's perfect.
That's amazing.
How much better can that? That's what I'm doing from now on. I have you read it yet?
Is that one of your books?
No, it's not. Because I looked at it last time. I got all new stuff this time.
Okay. I'm ready whenever you are.
But have you read this guy? Have you read the new Tommy?
You know what? I hate this because that was actually one of my books.
Ha ha!
It's great.
You gotta get up pretty early in the morning to scoop me on that stuff, Noah.
But I've got another one. I've got a bonus that'll make up for that.
Okay, well, let's get in. Oh, wait, there's comments already. I'm gonna try to, I don't know. Maybe I'll intersperse comments in this time. Who knows? There's not too many people watching.
Oh, there is.
We're not gonna
put headphones on.
Oh, is it echo still happening for folks out there? Tell me, are you echoing?
Let me try.
Tell the other bald guy to wear headphones. Yeah, maybe you should. All right, well, let's keep it this way. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Folks. Sorry,
okay.
guys. I got an all new audio and video setup, and this may be part of a problem I hadn't anticipated. I apologize. That's the sign of an unprofessional broadcaster. I'm going to do my best, folks, to make it better.
That's okay.
Okay.
We solved it. It's better now.
Killer. That's, troubleshooting on the fly. Thanks, Linkovich.
Sick of these headphones.
Cool.
My wife bought me these headphones, Dan, and look how long I had to wrap the cord up. The cord is like 8 feet long for some reason.
You gotta go. You gotta go Bluetooth, buddy.
I was like, oh man, great, thanks.
All about
I gotta get
Bluetooth. All right, let's get into this. Noah, let's talk about your book first. Let's talk about JNCO Jeans.
Yeah,
because it's not a graphic novel. I said before it's an amuse-bouche to the 7-course meal that is the Noah Van Sciver oeuvre. So tell us a little about like the genesis. Like, where did those strips come from? There wasn't a lot of like these came from this place in there that I remember. There wasn't a lot of text at all.
Yeah, it was. I used to do a weekly comic strip in Columbus, Ohio, when I lived there a couple years ago for the alternative weekly newspaper there called the Columbus Alive. And those are all, well, not all of them, but those are my favorite strips from that time and that gig. And there's a couple illustrations I used to just do and post on Facebook, like all the Universal Monster stuff. That's where that comes from. Mostly just from Facebook.
It's great stuff, and it was sort of like they just let you do what you want, I guess.
Yeah, that was the best thing about it. They were just like, they had no interference at all. They're just like, just do whatever you want every week and email it to us on Thursday. So it was great.
My favorite, well, I don't know what my favorite part is, but one of my favorite bits is that you're continuing an attempt to create a cat-based comic strip throughout. How's that been going? Because I feel like that's could be your true, like, not your calling as a cartoonist, but like the way you're gonna make those mega bucks to like just get solid. It's cats.
The cat comics in there.
Yes.
That's how I'm gonna get rich.
Well, cats in general. Like, if you're gonna go in a commercial direction, I'm sorry, buddy. Like indie cartoonist stuff, that's only gonna go so wide. But yeah, dude. Wait a minute. Let me ISO you here.
This is what you're talking about.
Yes, sword-fighting French-speaking cats.
So the whole thing about the cats where I was doing a residency in France with a bunch of other cartoonists, and we were supposed to get together and make a graphic novel in like a week. And so we were all tossing around ideas for characters, and somebody invented this cat character, and then people just kept adding to it around the table, and then that was just one of the characters that we made up. And then when I got home from that trip, I just started drawing the cat. Like it was just so fun to draw. And then I still had to do my weekly comic strip, so I just put the cat in that comic.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Hey, can you see this? Well, actually, on the floor here, I just noticed this. This is the Mad Artist Edition down there.
No, pick it up.
Pick it up. You want to see it?
I want to see how big it is. Yeah, I want to see it in scale. Dude, artist editions I can't get behind. They're just too much for me. I can't justify it because I'm not an artist, I guess, but like, I don't know. I get the appeal from an artist point of view for sure, but like I wouldn't want to read it in that format. Oh my God.
Yeah, I couldn't read it, but it's just, you're right. It's just for artists. I mean, you just want to look at the original artwork and see how amazing they were.
Yeah.
But this book, I bought this book, and then I was like really embarrassed when it arrived because we have a small house and storage, is limited. So then all of a sudden this giant box arrives in the mail, and it arrived when my wife was home. So I was like, shit. And I grabbed it and then like came into here and like, opened it up. And I was like, oh, it's like fawning over this giant thing. My wife's like, why did you buy that? How much was that? It was like $200. So
Yeah.
It was like this like shameful experience. So I have mixed feelings about this book, but you also can't get rid of them. That's another problem with them. It's like, I don't want to go to the post office and try and figure out how to ship this to somebody on eBay.
Good point. I mean, I'm lucky. I don't buy too many of those things. Like I'll buy the Nemo, the Sunday Press Nemo stuff.
Oh yeah.
I have a few of those, just because that's the way it's got to be experienced, in my opinion. But even those, like, where do you keep it, dude? Do you have a shelf just for that?
I hide them in the closet.
Yeah. And then how? That's no fun. Your book. See, a book. There's a sweet spot on a book on how big a book should be, because a book is worthless if you cannot show off to everybody the great taste in books.
That's right.
That you have.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Yeah.
They're just there to lift my status in my neighborhood.
I think somebody could make, like, if they made like a long box that fit those artist edition or the giant Nemo treasure edition with like a cardboard lid, and somebody would buy that.
Yeah,
I might.
Useful. Let me show you one of my book picks. Can I do that right now, or should I?
Yeah, you do one. Let's go.
Okay. So this is one that I don't think you probably have, but you know this artist mostly for his film work, and this is David Lynch's comic strips.
Ooh.
This just came out. It's the collection of the comic strip called "The Angriest Dog in the World."
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of this before?
Absolutely. I did not know there was a collection, but where do I know it from? Where did I read it?
It was in all the weekly papers. Like, look at it's just the same.
That's where I read it.
Same drawing every single time.
Wait, let me ISO you again. Let me show that again, please.
Okay. Like every one is the same.
Yes, I remember this.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, or not funny at all, but it's at least interesting. And it just came out.
I love that format.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's like a Garfield format.
This must be like a best of, because I think the strip ran for a while, but this is a pretty slim. I was a little disappointed when it arrived, because I was like, all right, I'm going to read all those comics, and I was like, oh, this is like, maybe like a half a year's worth or something, But
it's funny because I almost brought my Cliben book as one of my books.
What is that?
The Cliben, B. Cliben,
the
cartoonist. Like in a similar format.
Mm-hmm.
Out of print, hard to find. We'll have those on a future one. And dude, I don't want to be that guy. I'm going to be that guy though, cuz I got to show comics, but I don't just like point them at the screen, dude. I'm sorry. I have to do a little something a little bit different. Let me see if I can do this. See if it's going to work this time. We'll go and check out what? Where do we go? Where else? The $1 Million Comics Cam. Okay.
I recognize those.
Hey now, $1 Million Comics Cam. Fantastic. Oops, I need my mouse still. Got a couple of books for you to take a look at too, and we can switch back and forth, and maybe I'll show a book and you show a book.
Okay.
And see what we got here. Okay. Oh yeah, $1 Million Make You Holler Comics Cam. We got, of course, Please Don't Step. Let's take a look at the inside. And right away, we open to a page where I'm like, oh, here's something I have in common. I had that action figure.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Myself as a kid.
It was the color scheme that I really liked as a kid on that figure.
Me too.
It was great. It was beautiful.
Speaking of color schemes, it was Eric Reynolds who called you out as one of the best colorists working in comics right now on as far as your own stuff. And I gotta say, this stuff is gorgeous.
I accept.
What's your approach like to coloring a page? Like, I don't know. Are you? I know you're digital flatting. Tell us a little bit about your techniques.
Yeah, so it's just. Those comics are drawn pretty small, and then it's just light boxing several different layers of ink and watercolor and maybe colored pencil, and then you put them all together on Photoshop.
Dude, they look lovely.
Thank you.
Oh, we got cats.
Yeah, I like to keep it messy. That's the whole thing. Like my drawing style is so messy. I like my coloring style to be the same. Because the Grateful Dead book wasn't colored by me, and I think that's the biggest complaint that people have about it. Is that that's not my. It just doesn't work as well with my artwork.
I was gonna say I liked it because I think it looks good, but now that you're calling it out, I'm gonna say that the palette is way darker.
Yeah, I hate to do it, but
it's a little muddier.
Yep.
So are you gonna get I know there's gonna be sequels to this thing, right?
Yeah, supposedly. We'll see how it goes.
So are you gonna muscle in on the color gig?
Yeah, the only reason I didn't color that one is that I just didn't have enough time. I'm already working on another book. So I was just like, I can draw it, but I can't color it. I'm sorry. I did the colors on the cover, though. That's mine.
Oh, and what's this custom color sketch on the inside?
Look at that.
For us here at Comic Book News. Tell us a little bit about this book, where this came from.
Uh, well, I'm friends with the publisher, Josh Frankel at Z2, and he had made a deal with Rhino Records to do the graphic novel biography of the Grateful Dead, and they were looking for an artist who had like a style that was like reminiscent of like 1960s underground comics, sort of R. Crummish. So and I knew him already, so he just came and offered me the job, and I took it. Pretty simple, unromantic story.
Well, I mean, but it seems like it's going to pan out. How well did this book sell?
Oh, it was amazing. It sold. I don't know exactly, but I know that it sold really well. So the best thing ever.
Well, the Grateful Dead have a rich history of comics, right? I remember the Grateful Dead comic that came out like for many years in the 90s.
Yeah, from Kitchen Sink.
Yeah, so, and as I remember, I may be misremembering, but it was kind of like an anthology type thing. They had different artists and stuff doing just like
illustrating songs.
Yeah, it had nothing. It wasn't like it wasn't like a biography like this job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Was that one of your picks? Let's see one of your picks.
Oh no! Sorry, Noah. No, I mean not that it wouldn't be. I'm just saying. I know you've read this one already.
I read that one.
All right, let me do a pick. Let's see. I kind of tipped my hat on it, so let's look. I shouldn't because I should save this for last because of how much I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with Gene Yang? You must be.
Yeah. In fact, he came here and did a talk at the university a couple years ago, and I was like, "Hello, sir. I'm Noah Van Sciver." It meant nothing to him, but yeah, exactly. But yeah, I like him. I like his.
He's like, I love your Green Lantern. It was fantastic. It's fantastic.
Oof. He's like, yeah, your name sounds familiar. Get out of here.
So, this thing, dude, I don't know what I was expecting out of it. Like, this is sort of his story of him as a teacher at a school that's very famous for basketball in the Bay Area, where I grew up, actually. Not my part of the Bay Area, but... and how he got involved with the team, and he hates sports. He's always been a sports-hating comic book nerd. And he got caught up with them. And this story talks about the players on the team, the coaches on the team, the history of basketball itself, as well as Yang's journey as a cartoonist. Like, in the middle of writing this thing, he got the job writing Superman for DC Comics. And so that's, like, part of the story.
Interesting.
And I started thinking about, like, the closest thing I can think to this book is, like, Mouse.
What?
Yeah. As crazy as that is, I mean, the way it weaves in his personal life, the historical story of basketball, the lives of these people. I mean, it's not an exact parallel, but I don't know any other book that really does it and makes himself as a cartoonist an integral character and part of the story. You do that, but not to this degree. Not to the degree that Gene is doing it here.
Mm.
And maybe it's I learned so many things about basketball. Like, I'm not a sports guy.
Yeah, me either.
But I learned a lot about basketball. And when you think about the civil rights movement and where, like, the rubber met the road of, like ethnicities, like, not being allowed to play together and then, like, coming in and showing what they could do, the racism and prejudice against, they're like, oh, blacks are not athletic enough, was the theory back in the day. Like, they don't have the Constitution, and it's like, well, give us a shot, let us try, and then we know the story from there.
What do you think of the art? Are you a big fan of the art?
I am. a humongous fan, not necessarily of the delineation, like it's obviously not a realistic style, but storytelling wise, it is as clear as day. Like it is clear as a bell. It's so easy to read in a way that most comics are not, especially comics aimed at like a civilian audience. That I think it's a masterwork of cartooning, to be honest. The drawing, like the style is what it is, but it's perfectly suited to what's going on here in the story.
Yeah.
And he even does meta commentary in it. Like at one point, one of the kids like comments on he doesn't like the way he's being drawn. I can't find that page. And so the drawing of the kid changes in the book, and he comments on it and he shows it. And it's just really far beyond just like a book about like a ragtag basketball team winning the championship or whatever you would expect. That is exactly what I expected out of this. You know, is Hoop Dreams with a Chinese American twist. Cool. And it was not that. It was just a fantastic powerhouse of a graphic novel. He won what did he win? No, I want to say the Ignatz, but it's not that. He just won 2 Harveys.
Oh, okay.
One for this and one for his Superman Smashes the Klan book that's out right now.
Yeah, that's right. I want to win a Harvey Award.
Well, dude, get working. Get cracking, pal, because he spent 10 years on this thing.
Yeah,
and it shows.
Yeah, that's a giant book, man.
It's a killer book, dude. I bought it because I felt like this is one I should read almost. Like, this is like, people won't look at it or won't carry it. And like, I should do it and do a perfunctory review and be like, oh, it's great for the YA audience. No, dude, this is a master graphic novel. It's incredible. It's great. It's that good to me.
Yeah, I need to do a YA graphic novel, but I have such a horrible mind. Like my mind is so dark. I don't think I could do a good story for kids. I think it'd just be a terrible story.
Oh, dude, the best kid stories are very dark, though. Look at Neil Gaiman's stuff. You could do it. You could totally do it.
Yeah. I'm more horrible than Neil Gaiman, though, on a lot of levels.
Okay. There's room for that, though, I think.
Let me show you a comic. I'm actually curious if you have this. You have this.
I've read it.
Have you really?
Of course I've read it. Oh, are you kidding me? What am I, some schmuck off the street? Yeah, Power Pack Eater.
It's like Cerebus came out, and so it's like Marvel was like, we got to do something like that. But
I bought it off the shelf, man. I'm sure I bought it off the shelf, and it was, it was in that. Is it a Star comic, right?
No, it's just Marvel. It doesn't say Star on it. It says Marvel.
It's not Star. Okay.
Yeah. But it's 1989. So how old were you in 1989?
Guess. I was 14. I was 14. I was working in a comic book store. I bought that the day it came out.
Oh my god.
And bagged it, and was like, "This is putting me through college, dude. This is the one. This will be the one."
Yeah. Well, I got this on eBay for like probably $4, and I haven't even read it yet. I just bought it because, you know Scott Shaw? You know that cartoonist?
Yeah, oh yeah.
He posted it on Facebook one day. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I went looking for it, and I found it really cheap. But I haven't read it yet. What's that? Did he draw it?
Did he draw it?
God, I hope not.
He could have. Like, that's right in his era and wheelhouse.
Penciler Adam Blostein. Inker John DiAgostino. You know
that name sounds familiar. Sounds familiar. But...
Written by Roger
Well,
Stern.
that was the era of what? Like, in DC at the time, maybe Captain Carrot had already come out, probably, in the Zoo Crew. That's a really good book.
Yeah, was that Scott Shaw?
He may have been involved with it. But, like, that is that era of, like, funny animal comic parody stuff. And even, like, the Star comics at that time, like the Alf. You ever look at Alf? The Alf comic from Marvel?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
You ever watch the Alf cartoon from Saturday morning?
No.
Dude, if you get a chance, like, there was a spin-off Alf cartoon, not to go off into crazy tangent here, but like, There was one called Alf Tales where they did fairy tales, but through with all Alf characters because they were on the planet, on Alf's planet.
Oh, really? What was this planet like?
Dude, it was crazy Alf planet. So there's like a million Alfs, and they eat cats, and they got crazy inventions. It is wacky and super fun. It was great. I miss that show a lot.
Oh, man, I got to read you this quote from... so, because we both recently read this Adrian Tomine book. How do you say his name? Do you remember how? Eric Reynolds?
I asked Eric Reynolds, and he said Tomine.
Okay. All right, I'm going to try and remember that. When that came out...
I won't.
Heidi McDonald wrote in a review on the Comics Journal in the comments, and I wrote this review down in this notebook because I thought it was really valuable. She says, the self-loathing cartoonist is the signal characteristic of the male autobio generation, established by Crumb and continued by Clouds, Ware, Tomine, and the rest.
Tomine.
Tomine. I hope with this book we have written the end to the ubiquity of this trope. And I thought, well,
is that the Jordan Raphael? Is that the Jordan Raphael interview that he references in the book?
Oh no! Well, that was just a review that somebody had written on the Comics Journal of this book.
Oh, dude, yeah, because in this book, what a heartless person that is who wrote that. Because they read this book, they saw his gut hurt reaction to that Comics Journal review of him that kind of said the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, autobio short subject.
That's all I do.
Yeah. Are you kidding? Yeah, but dude, it's all execution. It's about the execution. It's about the craft. It's about the decades of work that is behind those strips and Tomine poisoning strips.
Well, there's an audience for that stuff, and that audience is me. So I hope we'll keep doing that kind of stuff. I love it. And I think everybody can do whatever the fuck they want.
Absolutely, dude. Just to write off a whole genre. Oh, autobio. It's such a male-dominated blah blah. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Let me show you a book on my list. Can I show you, or you want to do one?
Yeah. No, you go.
This book I've reread several times. It's not necessarily a comic, but it's a book about comics. This was my introduction to EC. Foul Play, Grant Geisman. Do you have this? Have you read this before?
I do not. Nope.
It goes through and does a profile on every artist who was involved with EC, and then we'll reprint an example of the work of a story that they did for EC. So, for example, it'll be Joe Orlando, and it'll talk about how Joe Orlando was a assistant of Wally Wood. What is that?
I'm sorry, dude. That's my dumb telephone, and I forgot to put on mute like a dummy.
Yeah. So this book was my education about EC Comics when I was getting into comics myself, and I went and got this book from the Denver library, and then I had a long bus ride to work, and I read this. It's a really fond memory. I would just sit on this long bus ride and read from Foul Play. So eventually I got my own copy, and I take it off the shelf and reread it probably annually.
You didn't steal it from the library?
I didn't. No, I didn't. I can't steal stuff from the library, man. Come on.
You've never stolen anything from the library?
No, but I did steal from Blockbuster Video.
That's easier than the library. Oh, I stole the Encyclopedia of Superheroes from my main branch public library.
Mm-hmm.
I located the electronic key inside of it and removed it so that it wouldn't get me when I took it. Dude, I circumvented.
What a crook.
I have two books now. I'm not sure which one to show you because you showed a kid's comic, so I want to show the kid's comic that I brought. I'll show.
What was the kid's comic that I showed you? Power Pachyderms?
Yeah, Pachyderms.
Okay, fair enough.
So let me show this one real quick because I didn't even read it yet, to tell you the truth. I bought this because I went to the comic book store, and my daughter, as I'm going to the comic book store, she goes, "Daddy, will you bring me a comic?" And I'm genetically hardwired. It's impossible for me to say no to a child asking me for a comic book. So I went to the dollar bins, and what did I find in the dollar bins?
Oh.
I'm like, wow, Rocky and Bullwinkle. I said, I'll pay $1 for that. I wonder if it's any good. And frankly, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a nice cover.
For 15 cents, you got a hell of a deal here. You got a lot of content. Nice. Look at these full color ads for Mark Jewelers. Classic comics advertisements throughout. Really skilled cartooning. Like,
that was
very readable. Very readable for kids, but at the same time, they're having fun with it, and it's true to the look of the book, but it's actually, or the show rather, it's actually a little almost more richly drawn than the TV show, I would say. And we got Peabody and Sherman. I mean, it is just chock full of content. For a kid, you would spend 15 cents for a kid. This is going to keep a kid busy for a long time.
Oh, look at that stuff.
Oh, it's wonderful.
What are those? Is it like a iron-on patch? Those or like iron-on?
These are three-dimensional stickers featuring the most colossal collection of comic characters ever. $1.50 each, 3 for $4. Pretty expensive, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
For back then.
Yeah.
This was probably those nice big stickers. What does it say? 6.5 inches. Okay, that's a big thing. Wait, I had my favorite here was this frivolous facts. Just somebody got paid to just write up a bunch of like dubious facts. But I love the little drawing, the little robot that does math, the Portuguese robot.
And that artist got no credit, right? The artist of that comic? No.
Nothing. There's probably multiple artists. There's probably a way to figure out who did it. But it's definitely not credited in the book.
Yeah, it looks really
probably
good.
Multiple artists. It's really great stuff. I'll bet Mark Evanier would know or might have even been involved. Who knows? With that guy. Okay, let me do another book because I'm in here, and I'll do my answer to your nonfiction book, which I brought in.
Okay.
Oh, have you read the Cartoonist and Gag Writer's Handbook?
No, but that looks right up my alley. Who wrote that?
Oh my goodness.
Jack Marlowe? What? Is that what it says?
Yes, Jack Marlowe. And so it's full of advice on how to make gag cartoons, how to sell gag cartoons, the different types of gag cartoons. One of my favorites is just like early on. There's like the different types. Yeah, here it is. There's the reveal or the hidden element, right? There's the understatement.
Oh,
and
great.
Right, and all the different, like he breaks it down, and then he even later. Then this is the best chapter of all, my friend.
What is that?
Just for this, ready-made captions. Okay, there's 500 of these puppies in here, ready for you. And if that's not enough, folks, I don't have this ready. I'll try to put the URL up. Maybe I'll show it if we have time before the show ends. We got an hour left, max. But I wrote a automatic. I call it the Jack Markow Gag-O-Matic, and I took all 500 of these captions and I made a random generator that generates them and juxtaposes them with a random image. And you can find that at comicbooknews.tv/gags. I'll put that URL up a little bit later. Maybe we'll take a look at it and generate a few gags. Anyway, highly recommended.
The Hack's Handbook. Oh, those are good. That's good stuff right there. Look at that.
Not bad. This one came for free with my,
That's right.
either with my book or with. I purchased this one on eBay, and then I almost stiffed you on it.
I have a book that's similar to that to show you that was recommended to me. I'm reading now. It's pretty good.
What do you got?
This is Backstage at the Strips by Mort Walker. Have you seen this?
Wait, let me ISO you. Hang on. I'm gonna ISO you. I can't do it. It won't let me do it. There we go.
Yeah. So
no, I haven't seen that.
This is Mort Walker. It's like all like the behind the scenes info on being a strip cartoonist, and he has like little anecdotes from different cartoonists, and it's really interesting. It was recommended to me by my friend Bruce Simon, And I'm thinking about just doing a video based on it when I'm done reading through all of it.
Cool.
But it's pretty great, and it has this great pinup.
I got a Mort Walker. I have a Mort Walker original hanging on my wall somewhere.
No kidding. Oh, what, Beetle Bailey?
Dude, you could just, back in the day, you could just write to him and just, you write him a letter and he'd send you a full, like 8.5 by 11 Beetle Bailey shot.
Desperate for fans.
There's a lot of them out. Now, I don't know about desperate, man. He was just he was a global superstar. Still is, really. Like, his name is read daily across the world in that strip.
Yeah. His son doesn't
ever chuckled. I don't know if I've ever chuckled once.
No, it's not very good. But one time I was at the Cartoon Art Museum in San Francisco, and they had an exhibit of his work that was all the kind of the sexy strips that he did for Beetle Bailey, like the stuff that he just did.
Secretary.
To make his friends laugh or something. It's pretty.
I think he was a great artist. I think he was in a Bushmiller category design wise of like that is a beautiful thing. I had this beautiful Beetle Bailey print once that really made me appreciate just the design work. The ability to make these characters that live and you recognize and can be read at postage stamp size, you know what I mean? And tell a joke that maybe it's not for you or me, but somebody's laughing. Somebody's got to be liking that stuff.
Yeah. I like, by the way, that we're, as soon as we start talking about comics and discussing, what this whole art channels are about and like the stuff that we're really interested in, the chat basically dies because
dude,
we don't want to hear that shit.
Dude, that is the story of my life as selling comic books. Like at the comic book store, I'd be like, you got to check out this Ivan Brunetti or this whatever, and people are just like, where's Superman again? Like, what?
Yeah.
That's all right. This crew likes everything. That's all right. Some people are watching. Some people are listening. Ignore the chat. I should have turned it off. You're not supposed to look at that stuff anyway, dude. Till the end. Well, okay. I got a last book. I got one last book that I pulled because I'm like, you know what? I'll bet you that Noah never reads is like a monthly comic at the comic shop.
Yeah, that's true.
So here's the latest issue of Norse mythology. Are you familiar with this?
I've never even heard of that. No, I haven't seen that or anything.
Yes. So let's look. You may have heard of these creators. They're somewhat, decent creators.
Oh, sure.
And, dude, like, we got Neil Gaiman at the top of his game. Like, he's just decided. He wrote that book, Norse mythology, right? And I believe this may just be like an adaptation of the stories that he did in that book. I don't know because it didn't have enough pictures for me. But what they've done here, this is the second issue. The first issue had a story by P. Craig Russell. It had a story by Mike Mignola.
Man, that's great art.
I don't even have the first issue, the second, and it had a story by this one, which is Jerry Ordway.
Oh.
Okay, and it's like Jerry Ordway, standard, DC Marvel guy. He's super great. Like, it's really, really good. The storytelling is on point. The camera angles are fun and interesting. This is solid. This is great comics work. And because it's Neil Gaiman, because it's a classic mythology story, it's fun to read. It moves along. The North myths were pretty funny and kind of like, a little bit tongue in cheek almost. There's a little bit of jokiness to them, like.
Wow, look at that water. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I'm gonna ISO me. We can still hear you. I'm gonna ISO this so it's a little bit bigger.
Fantastic.
But they're not. These are pros, guys that are not getting superhero gigs right now, right? And here we get to tell the story of Thor and where Thor's hammer came from. There's a whole backstory involving the elves and multiple gifts and all these different magical items and stuff that, I don't know, I love that stuff.
Damn.
So this will be out in a graphic novel soon. But I think it's a 6-issue miniseries, and this is the kind of stuff that I decided I need to be back in the comic shop on a weekly basis in order to support not just the shops, but just to support my knowledge, like to be on whatever the cutting edge, to know what comics are coming out. Dude, if you read, or if you're just reading graphic novels, especially if you read anything that's somewhat mainstream, then you're a year or 6 months behind at a minimum behind where everyone else is. So I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I did read the Three Jokers.
It stunk.
I don't know. I feel like I'm missing.
It was. I wish I had that here. I had bought it too, dude. We should have talked about. Well, let's talk about it. Tell me what you thought.
Yeah. I just feel like I'm not immersed enough in that world to fully have understood what was going on. Like I don't really know who these people are necessarily. I don't know why this guy is crying, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what these represent.
I think what you're identifying.
I got psyched on the hype.
I think what you're identifying is they take a lot for granted. To really even understand Three Jokers, you can't just be like, oh, I know Batman, I know the Joker, let me read this. This will make sense. No way.
Yeah. Well, that's
not possible. Yeah, not possible. And dude, I read Batman. I don't read it monthly now, but I've read it for the last year and a half, and I read Batman. I dip into Batman, and I dip into everything. That stunk. Dude, I'm sorry. Jeff Johns, it was sloppy writing. Like, they get into the point where we couldn't identify them genetically. That's the thing that got me in the first issue. There was just this plot point about, in 2020, what we know about crime and forensics and stuff, the story instantaneously made 0 sense. And it just got dumber.
You didn't like when the shark burst out of the glass and then...
I didn't like that. No. I didn't like that. What I want to show you, if I can, I think I can, is let's take a quick look. We got some time here to look at something fun for the whole family. Do you have more comics to show, by the way?
Sure. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Let's bring it up a second, but I wanted to real quick, since I mentioned this.
Okay.
I wanted to bring up, let's see. Yeah, Jack Markow's Gag-O-Matic. Okay, so so if you go to Comic Book News, you can go in there and you can just generate a gag. Just hit generate gag, and you're gonna get a fun punchline and a random picture.
Oh.
And if you want a picture, there you go. Wonderful.
Oh.
That's New Yorker grade. This is we're ready for the big time. And if you need to add something I don't know, you want to make sure that there's something in your picture that's a little related to something, you can put a topic in there, and it'll get you a random pig picture. Another winner.
Is this real? What is this? Is this on your website?
This is I built this. Yes, this is Comic Book News. I'm gonna put this up. I'll put this up on the screen real quick. And I invite everybody to come and check it out and have fun and generate some gags. Please.
Oh boy.
Let me real quick create a banner.
Watch that become a giant sensation. Do you remember old websites, how they would have the counting at the bottom? They would show you how many people visited the site.
Yeah, oh yeah, the counter. Can't
it's
wait.
Your website. Because everybody wants to go generate gags.
Well, the beauty of this thing is, Noah, is that you could hit this. 1 million people could hit this right now, and I've got this set up where it's just gonna stay up. And it's gonna be rock solid. All my stuff is scalable, pal. Cool. We got the good back ends going on here. So please, guys, generate gags. Here's another pig gag. Tell me that's not comedy gold.
Wait, how did you put together these photos? Did you put all those in there?
No, they're randomly pulled from a site called unsplash.com.
Okay.
So I don't pick these pictures, but you can put tell me a topic, no? What's a fun thing you want to see a picture of?
I want to see a picture of a crashed car.
Maybe car crash. Let's see if it'll do. I don't know how well
Yeah, no, I'm
two
afraid.
words. Let's see. Let me see. Generate gag. Give me a gag. Give me a good one. Close.
George
We got a
Washington.
car. Comedy gold. Ah, here we go.
All things coming in.
See, these are all the pictures are just random pictures, but all the gags come from Jack Markow and his cartoonist and gag writer's handbook, which I suggest y'all go check out.
Yeah. Emil Ferris, I just did a chat with her on my YouTube channel, and she was talking about how there's AI that creates art now. And
Yes.
the art that AI makes is like really disturbing. It's like a serial killer.
Yeah.
That's what that reminds me of.
I've seen some of it. It is like the stuff of nightmares, like you can't believe some of it. It's insanity.
Why would they do that? Like, why is it necessary to have AI create art?
Well, as a programmer, I would say that it's a very interesting challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you're certainly capable of using code to generate things that are aesthetically pleasing and interesting that you couldn't do easily by hand. But so artificial intelligence seems to take away some of the choices of the artist a little bit, but then the choices become in the programming. Maybe the programming is the creative part of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm biased that way. I'm a nerd.
Yeah. But there's going to be people who will buy that shit. Like, they collect AI-made art.
I could see it. I mean, if you liked it, why not? A, but B, if we're on the cusp of a new thing, and that is the earliest proto art, it's the same douchebags that have driven the price of a John Buscema page up into hundreds of thousands of dollars. They care about it as a commodity, not as an artistic artifact. And so to me, that's perfect for computer generated art. No humans involved, shit it out, let morons pump all their money into it, and maybe they will get out of comics for a while.
Do you remember, this just reminded me of this Batman comic called Digital Justice?
Yes, of course.
All computer generated.
Of course. It was Sands, I believe, right? I believe wasn't it Mike Sands, the guy, or no, he did the Iron Man Crash.
Oh, I remember that too. Oh.
Digital Justice was way worse, though. I thought Shatter and even the Iron Man Crash were at least visually kind of fun and interesting to look at because of that bitmap 80s look.
Yeah, Digital Justice had the Joker in it. It was like some digital version of the Joker. It was like it's like some virtual reality thing.
I barely remember. I remember being excited about it as a kid when it came out. And then you buy it, and you're like, it's not even as good as a mediocre Batman comic.
Yeah. Yeah, we had several copies of that. I worked at a used bookstore in Denver, and that was one of the books that would come in all the time. Nobody bought them, so we just had a stack of Digital Justice.
Nobody wanted that. There were a couple books. There was this Batman 3D book, I remember, that came out in that kind of same period that like Ray Zone did all the 3D effects, and it came with backglasses and stuff. I think there was a John Byrne story in it and stuff, and it was really good. That was a time when, like, I don't know, they thought digital was just so not ready with those first digital comics. But now I don't think you can find a comic published today that's not digital in some way.
Yeah. Right. Some element.
I mean, some way, like, I mean, maybe there's probably Peter Bag's not. No, even he's getting digital coloring on his colored stuff for sure. So
yeah, that's right.
I don't think anybody goes the old-fashioned way of coloring. Do you know? Does anybody do the old color seps? The whole, like, why would you?
No, I don't think so. Did you see? There's like a long thread on my Facebook page about that, the old-fashioned color separations, and it just seemed like hell to go through that. It's such a nightmare.
And if you're after the aesthetic look, you can create that look if you're going for it. So I just never quite understood that impulse.
I could see like Ed Piskor trying to do that, or like Jim Rugg. Like those guys are really into nostalgia in comics, and they're just like, let's try and hand color a comic like they used to, hand separations and stuff.
Or you like Jason Shiga?
Yeah, he's great.
So he did that Demon book. He did it on a risograph. We interviewed him. I interviewed him here, and we talked about that a little bit. And it's like, what a cranky process that has to be to do.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, the end result, you could have just done it in any, like in post-production or whatever, and nobody would know the difference, but he would know, I guess.
Yeah. Risograph was a really hip thing in like the small press comic scene 10 years ago, I think, and there might be some people that are still doing it, but I remember you go to the comic convention or the small press expo, and everybody would have like risograph mini comics, and you'd be reading it, and then you like look at your fingers, and the ink is like all over your fingers and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like powdery and weird.
Yeah, because it was almost like a toner type scenario, right? It's like a colored toner kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, hey, so you got another comic to show? You ready?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I've got a few. Do you know Tom Kaczynski? You know that artist? He does Uncivilized books. He has a new series out called Cartoon Dialectics, and this is the second issue. And his art is really awesome. Two color. He's publishing the new Craig Thompson comic that's been coming out as well. And he's
okay, yeah.
He's like into like the revival of that like staple pamphlet mini comic thing.
Yep.
So
it's due.
Yeah. And then he also published this book by M.S. Harkness called Desperate Pleasures. It's an autobio story. I haven't read it yet, but my wife has, and she said it was really good. So that's on my list.
Are you reading Ginseng Roots?
Yeah. In fact, I just got the newest issues, but I haven't read them yet.
I'm like 2 or 3 behind now.
Yeah, right. I didn't realize they're coming out really fast. So I'm just like, oh shit.
Dude, he's putting them out on clockwork every other month. Which is amazing. Not at all.
Oh, how about this one?
And that was part of his whole mission with that book, though, was like to get back into this rhythm of like getting your books out and getting feedback and having a letters column.
Yeah.
And being in the rhythm of production again and not locking yourself in a room for 10 years for your masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might have been frustrated by Habibi.
I think so.
Because it was good. I enjoyed it. It definitely didn't get the critical acclaim or attention of Blankets, not even close.
Well, I really think that what people wanted after Blankets was something like Ginseng Roots. Like, I think if he had put that out after Blankets, it would have been the right move to make. And I think people were looking for the follow-up to Blankets, and then they got Habibi, and they're like, what is this? This isn't anything like Blankets. So that was a weird move. Which
was fine that it wasn't like it, but it seemed like it in its almost just like in its ambition. I guess it's like, oh, here you go, pal. Bam, 10 years, here you go.
Yeah, I love that too. Like just releasing a big brick of work like that. Like people haven't seen anything that you're working on, and all of a sudden you're just like, here's the new book, and it's just like, really heavy. I love that. I love the idea of that. I haven't been able to do that myself, but
to me, it's scary. Like, and I guess I don't know if you've got a rep, and people are going to buy your book. Like, I don't know. Did you read? Speaking of new books this year, did you read the new Joe Sacco?
I haven't read it yet. No, is it good?
Paying the Land. Oh, dude, it's well. Hang on, I got it here. Got it here somewhere. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can find it in the old shelfaroo here. There we go. Okay, yeah, here we go.
There it is. Oh, yeah. Who published that? Was that Fantagraphics?
Just no. Metropolitan Books, Henry Holt and Company.
All right.
So, if you want, there's a great talk online. It's Joe Sacco in like a 3-hour conversation with some guy named Art Spiegel something. I think he knows about something about comics. And anyway, they talk about it for like 3 hours, and it's great. Like, it's my wife could not get enough of it. Like, this is one that I gave to her, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I have to read it." And then like really, really loved it.
What is it about? Can you tell me something about it?
Yeah, it's First Nations. I've talked about this on the show a lot, but First Nations people in Canada. So, Native, what we call Native Americans here, they call First Nations. And it's a very cool, balanced portrayal, in my opinion. Come on. Come on. So it's a very balanced portrayal, I think. Let's see if we can do this. Because it's really about these indigenous people there in Canada, how they got colonized, how they got forced into schools, stripped of their language, etc., etc. The story that we know. But how also it's more complex than that. Like, some of those people are like, they want to modernize. They don't want to go back to the land and just be what they were before. They want to be something new. And so it's a really complex look at those issues.
Incredible art.
Stories. And just, come on.
I don't know how he does it. He's just amazing. I met him once, and I was so nervous. I couldn't think of anything to say. I was just like, oh, hey, I love your work.
I like your drawings. I'd be like, you're really great at showing people suffer. You're really good at that.
Yeah. Oh, God, I listened to a podcast that he did for the last book that he had out. And he just broke down and started crying in the middle of talking about his book. And he's just like, when I'm working on this book, I have to draw all these horrible stories that people told me. And I have to exist there in the stories. And it's like really difficult. It's so terrible for him.
And yet whenever he's in the book, in any of his books, he's always like this sort of goofy, bumbling, kind of like you. That's how not I mean like what you are, but like the way you draw yourself a little bit in the books. Yeah. In your books. Let's embarrass you for a second and talk about that.
Okay.
When you draw yourself in your books, you're not kind to yourself when you write yourself. And I like that.
You don't think so? I think I accurately how I am.
So is it the real deal? Is it fake humbleness? Are you really that bad of a person? Like, are your motivations truly that, I don't know, transparently, like wealth and fame seeking? Because that's kind of how you portray. I don't get that from you when I talk to you, but your character is like, I'll do anything. Your author character will do anything for money, or not for money, but for appreciation.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, I'm just exaggerating.
Yes.
Things to make. It's just all for humor. That's all. I don't seek after anything worldly. I
do, but I find it funny. I find it funny to admit, like, everybody does.
I know. It's an easy joke, but I mean, it's funny because I spent so much time doing the Fonte Bukowski books and working in that character that by the time when I started drawing myself as a character, I basically had become Fonte Bukowski. Yeah. So like when I look at a lot of those strips, I could just easily switch those out with Fonte and it would work just perfectly. Because I got so into the groove of working in that style of humor. It's just a despicable person. Wow, whoa! You switched over to a whole other. You got a real studio. You're like PBS.
Oh yeah. Once I break this bookshelf is like a secret door that opens and there's a whole like Batcave scenario going on back there. You know how it goes. Yeah. You don't even know what I put in, the work I put. If you could see, you could. Hey man, let's get a glimpse behind the scenes at Comic Book News.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's the $1 Million Comics cam. 2 cameras for the $1 Million Comics cam. And we're in my garage, but then we've got my setup over here.
Oh, this is a real treat. Getting to see behind the scenes of Comic Book News.
I'd like to flash it every once in a while. I was a TV major in college, like TV production. So when I came to YouTube and I just see all these dudes that are just like, it's like, I'm going to talk to you for 2 hours like this. Yeah. No, you mix it up, man. At least you have an intro. You have some graphics. You have some tasteful thumbnail choices, some music choices. There's not much you got to do, in my opinion, to raise the game.
Yeah. Well, it's
so tell us about your YouTube. Where are you at? Where are you at subscriber wise?
1,777, I think. I can't remember. I have to look at it, but it's growing.
78. I checked before this thing to make sure you did not have more subscribers than me yet.
It's so difficult to balance doing that channel with putting out comics, like with the actual work that I need to do in order to make money. So, it's interesting. Like I just try to make sure that it doesn't look completely shitty, but just enough shitty, that it keeps my street cred.
There's something to that.
Yeah.
There's something to it on YouTube too. There's an authenticity to lower production values or something, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. We've entered this world now where we've still got 19 people watching us like talk about. I don't even know what we're talking about here.
Yeah. All over the place.
That you would think that many people would watch, but that's the beauty. This is the world that I always wanted to be in, man. When I was a TV major, the reason I got out of TV and into technology when the internet hit was just like TV is like, especially back then in the old days, you had a couple of options of what you could really do if you wanted to be seen by anybody. And you have to compromise your vision 100. You got to do whatever they say to get on TV. And it's like YouTube has flipped it around. And for everybody who hates the new media world that we're in, and the noise and the blah blah and the fake news and the whatever, it's like, dude, you do not want to go back to the nonsense that we had pre-90s. Just such a limited view of what is going on anywhere. That it excites me. It excites me to have you folks out there on YouTube that can watch this, can interact, can ask questions. I got to meet people this year. I've met so many people in the industry. I made friends with people like Noah. We met on the internet here, and I thought this was fantastic. I want you to come back here anytime you're ready to promote anything. What's next? I know what's next. I know what you're working on, but tell the people what you're working on.
Oh, I've been working for years on this. See that stack of Bristol board up there?
Yes.
There.
I see it.
That's my next book. It's I'm doing the biography of Joseph Smith and the founding of the Mormon Church, where that whole thing came from.
Yeah.
So it'll be out in spring of 2022. Seems like a long ways away, but I'm supposed to finish it up by February 1st. So,
are we talking straight bio? Is it funny?
Yeah, it's funny, but it's not like a comedy. It just has some funny parts in it, but it's just basically a straightforward telling. It's not like reverential, or it's not, it's like a totally secular view of where the church came from. And I don't know. It'll be. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really nervous about it. Like if I say it's going to be good or something, then maybe it won't be good.
Right. Are you a fan of like Book of Mormon, that kind of thing?
I never saw that.
I haven't seen it either. I know the real book, right? I haven't seen it either, but I've watched a couple of numbers from it, and musically I thought it was really good. And from what I understand, it's quite a good, touching, it has a genuine like heart to its story.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I want to see it.
Whenever it comes down to South Carolina, I'll go see it.
Well, have you stayed away from it have you stayed away from other Mormon stuff just because you don't want to be you don't want it to affect the work that you're working on?
No, I've taken in so much Mormon stuff since I've been working on this book. Even somebody wrote to me and said they're also doing a Joseph Smith graphic novel, but they're in the church, they're a believer. So I'm really curious to compare our books when they're both out. See what the differences are.
Is it the kind of thing where like they're going to issue the Mormon equivalent of a fatwa for apostasy? Like, you're like they're going to come after you?
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm not even doing anything. I'm not doing some something that's gonna.
No.
I'm not setting out to piss off the church or any of its members. I'm just telling the story of where the church came from, and
Yeah.
They got nothing to hide.
They don't?
I
thought they had secret underwear or something to hide. There's something to hide. I thought there was something.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got that, too. That's true. Hey, have you read this, by the way?
No.
You don't know about this?
Is this the new... It's a Turtles thing, right?
Yeah, it's like the hot shit on the streets. This is what all the kids are talking about. The last
room. I've heard them show it. Wait, hold it up. Because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Let's look. Who published? Is it Boom?
It's IDW.
IDW.
And this is the art.
Hey, that looks pretty good.
It's like futuristic, but there's like one of the
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll check that out.
I'm gonna wrap it in cellophane and then sell it on eBay. I went into my.
Do we know?
What?
Do we know which turtle? Is it one of our boys?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to spoil it for everybody though.
Let me guess. Show me the cover again, and can I just guess?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, he's got Michelangelo's swords, right? So it's got to be Michelangelo.
Oh my God! I'm not saying anything.
Okay. All right. Cool. I want to read it. I want to read it, dude. I get pulled into some of the craziest. Did you read Tom Scioli's Transformers at G.I. Joe series?
Yeah, I did.
That thing is nuts, dude.
I love his work, though. He's great.
It's so different than I expect it to be. It's like it reads like a religious scripture. It's like just wild. I really, really liked it in a way I didn't anticipate.
Yeah, I didn't read his Jack Kirby bio yet, but I should pick that up. Have you read that?
I did. Oh yeah, we interviewed Tom on the show. We had him on the show. We talked all about it, and it was really good. It was the star of that show, though. I'm sorry to say, Stan Lee steals the show, even in the Jack Kirby biography. To me,
oh really?
Well, not in a good way. Not in like steals the thunder. But just like is the most memorable thing is seeing his transition from Stanley Lieber to swinging Stan the Man. Like he was such a square old dude already when that Marvel stuff hit. And like it was like all of a sudden 70s Stan. Who doesn't want to be 70s Stan Lee?
Yeah. Was he doing cocaine, 70s Stan Lee?
I think that's what that mustache was all about. There was like some kind of receptacle. But I don't know. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Stan Lee said like I never touched a drug in my life. I would believe him, like, because he's almost that generation where it was like he was playing to the hippies, but he was such a square, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's more like Hugh Hefner generation.
Right. Yeah, he thought of himself as Hugh Hefner. What do you think of that?
Well, I'm trying to do a good Hefner analogy, but I don't know. He fucked a lot of people, so maybe that's the analogy. Stan fucked as many people as Hugh Hefner in his career. Although Hefner too was
cartoonists, though. He fucked them all out of their livelihoods.
And ironically, when you think about it too, Hefner was like a friend to cartoonists. He loved cartoonists and hired the best and paid them well.
You know what? When Hefner died, everybody went on the hate train for Hugh Hefner, but I can't because one of my heroes in comics is Harvey Kurtzman. And when Harvey Kurtzman had cancer at the end of his life, Hugh Hefner kept Kurtzman on the healthcare of Playboy so that he could take care of his hospital bills. And I can't hate him for that. Yeah, he gets my respect for that.
I can't hate him for almost anything. I mean, you can hate him for whatever you want to think about his creeping views or whatever, but like artistically, he was a patron of the arts. He supported he had exquisitely good taste in comics, in music, in movies, in literature, in culture, and it was in that magazine. So that was a magazine that you could read for the articles, and it was a freaking great magazine. With its own spin, I guess. Sexist.
Paid a lot of cartoonists bills, man. Jack Cole worked for them.
Shel Silverstein did a lot of work for them. Yeah, Will Elder. right? It did the Little Annie Fanny stuff, and with Kurtzman, and probably a lot more too.
Those are, I don't like those comics though. I hate to say it. I can't get into that shit.
The Little Annie Fanny.
Yeah, can't do it.
I can enjoy them on an aesthetic level, I guess. They're fun to look at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about Varga? Well, I guess he's not a cartoonist, but I mean, just as a patron of like really high quality art.
Yeah.
Hefner got the raw deal in the end and didn't really get a good send off, in my opinion. Mixed legacy or not, the guy did some really good stuff.
Yeah, you got to remember the good stuff. You can't speak ill of the dead.
You totally can. On this show, you're allowed to be encouraged.
I do all the time.
But you know what what are we gonna say about Stan Lee? Sure, he was a jerk. Okay, sure, he stole a lot of credit. Mm-hmm. But dude, honestly, you could say that okay, Jack Kirby did it all, but he didn't. Like it was a gestalt and a synthesis of what those guys did together. Mm-hmm. There's just no doubt about it. So Stan Lee, while he gets too much credit in the mainstream, he gets too little credit in comics, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm afraid to answer that.
Yo, don't be afraid. Defend Stan. Be pro Stan Lee. You're already pro Hefner. Be pro Stan Lee. All right. I'm going to get out of here before I get you in any more trouble. Yeah. Let's see. Guys, if there's any more questions, bring them on. I see a bunch of stuff in the comments, but I don't see any specific questions that are germane to our conversation. I don't know who's still listening. More people. The audience is growing, though. No, it's grown, so people want to hear from you. Any last remarks before you get anything you want to promote or talk about?
I just want people to go and pick up this book. That's all.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that my publisher is happy and that they don't stop working with me.
Not a chance. I talked to Eric, and by the way, thank you, Eric Reynolds and Fantagraphics, not just for coming here, but for sending me a humongous box of comics.
All behind you.
Your book.
Oh.
Yeah, they sent me your book, and then I asked for more. They sent me Eric's anthology with all the cool new Walt Holcomb stuff in it.
Yeah. He's great.
And he sent me this giant all-star Mickey Mouse thing where it's like every page is by a different superstar cartoonist doing Mickey Mouse, which I didn't even know was coming out. Yeah, I'd never even heard of it. Rest assured, we will show it here on the $1 Million Comics Camp.
Yeah.
And Noah, I hope you will come back sometime to promote some stuff or just talk about comics again, because this was fun.
Yeah, dude. Anytime.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, pal. We'll see you around. I'm going to play the final credits. If you got time, stick around. I have a few more minutes. If you don't, I understand. I'm going to play the final credits. There's a cameo at the end, specifically chosen, though, to complement your book.
Cool. All right. I'm going to see it.
All right. Guys, that was Noah Van Sciver. I really like his cartoons. What I like even more is his work ethic. Right? These guys got chops. He's built them up. He's put in the time. He's put in that 10,000 plus hours. He's really, really high quality artist and cartoonist. Writes funny stuff, which is the hardest stuff for an indie guy to do. There's a lot of good indie books out there that just like put me to sleep. I read his books and I really enjoy them. And if you're a 90s kid or whatever, you're going to like JNCO Jeans. You want to get this book. It's not expensive. It's not long. It's just a wonderful little, you could put this, where would you put this? I might put this, and no insult meant, but I might put this right on top of my toilet. For when I'm going to sit down and I just need a moment. I need something to peruse and giggle. I need a little bit of something to tickle my fancy. I might put it on the toilet, okay? And that's the highest praise in the Shaheen household. So anyway, I'll give one more bit of high praise, and that's for you people for sticking around and watching this show. I want to thank you for supporting this channel. We're up to 2,021 subscribers, and it's my only goal is to stay ahead of Noah, who is like catching up like nothing, like he's almost there already. It took me forever to get here, and I only got it by every week I have to scrounge and pull in the greatest people of the industry just to get any attention for my channel. Speaking of which, what are we doing next week? Well, this one's interesting. Let's check out. You might not have heard of this. Some of you may have, but how about, boom, make more comics. An arts micro grant to support independent comics publishing. That's exactly what it sounds like. Free money to make your comics. We're going to talk to William Hoffnecht. I think that's how you pronounce it. I've never met the guy. I've reached out to him. He moderates some message boards on Facebook that I'm a part of. The Cartoonist Kayfabe Ringside Seats, I believe he's involved with. And he sells comics on the site. He's got a day job, but he loves comics. And he's putting up his own money from his own business to just give. He's like, I want to give you money to make comic books. Period. Like, that's what he wants to do. So, like, you got to take advantage of this guy and how dumb he... No, I'm just kidding. You got to take him up on this great offer because we haven't had a grant situation since, like, the Xeric grants. And some of the coolest comics ever came out of Xeric grants. Look at Jason Lutz, Jack's Luck Runs Out. That's probably my all-time favorite Xeric Award winner. Check that one out. And check us out. Make sure to like and subscribe, blah, 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 all that stuff. We've got, next week we got that one. And then the week after that, we got Ross Ritchie, publisher of Boom Studios. He's coming in here he called me. He's like, Dan, haven't seen you for a while since the Steve Jeppy live stream. Let me come in there and get people up to speed what's been going on post-pandemic with Boom. Talk about his website, talk about his YouTube channel, talk about all his stuff. And won't that be awesome? It will be. So, I'm going to play the final credits now. But if you're smart, you'll stick around because you know there's a little cameo at the end. I tip my hand a little bit. It's kind of related to Noah's books. Was that just to make him stick around? He's still sitting there watching. So maybe it worked. Anyway, we will see you when? Oh yeah, next time.
Ready? Ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, The Ford Show. Starring Tennessee Ernie Ford. Ernie Ford. Ernie Ford. Ernie Ford. Ernie Ford. Ernie Ford.
This has been a recorded announcement.